On the news tonight, court stops DSS from arresting CBN boss Godwin Emefiele over alleged terrorism financing. And INEC signs MOU with road maritime workers for deployment of election materials. Well, it's a pleasure to have you join us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Justice John Tisoho of the Federal High Court in Abuja has declined an application by the Department of State Services, DSS, to arrest and detain Godwin Emefiele, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. Justice Tisoho, while declining the motion ex parte, said the Secret Police did not provide any concrete evidence to substantiate its claims that Emefiele was involved in terrorism financing and economic crimes. At the proceeding, the judge explained that the name of the respondent was given simply as Godwin Emefiele without a material disclosure that is the same person as the CBN governor. The DSS had reportedly filed a suit on December 7, 2022, seeking to arrest the CBN governor. Meanwhile, the Department of State Services, DSS, has said it would not succumb to intimidation and propaganda by individuals or groups on matters of national security. A coalition of civil society organizations, CSOs, have raised alarm over an alleged plot to oust Godwin Emefiele, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, from office on trumped-up terrorism charges. Addressing a press conference in Abuja on Monday, convener of the coalition, Tochukwu Ohazurike, alleged that the Department of State Services has secretly filed terrorism charges against the CBN governor. The CSOs, in a petition dated December 17 and 19, have also asked President Muhammadu Buhari to intervene in the matter. The CSOs wondered why the Secret Police would make an attempt to undermine his authority.
We have firmly in our custody genuine hardcore evidence of a plot by the State Security Service to frame the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, for terrorism financing. The plot to pick him up and keep him away for at least 60 days in solitary confinement, which will pave way for the forceful removal of the CBN governor from office and destabilize the President Buhari-backed CBN economic stability and reform efforts, especially the new currency design and cash withdrawal limit policies, which in the immediate will help achieve President Buhari's promise for credible election in 2023. We intercepted credible intelligence about a plot at certain high places in government to stop the central bank governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, by all means, and his policy to redesign the Naira with its January 31st, 2023 deadline, and also to put a stop to the cash withdrawal limit policy of the bank, scheduled to start on the 9th of January 2023. The plotters admitted that their major challenge was that the president had fully approved the policies, but agreed that the president's approval would not deter them.
Well, to speak more on this development, Adefolari Olamilekan, political economist and development researcher, joins me now. Thank you as always for joining us. The DSS is alleging that the CBN boss, Godwin Emefiele, is involved in terrorism financing and economic crimes. But his supporters are saying that it's an attempt to witch hunt him. What do you make of all of this?
That the DSS has authority to take anybody to court. And we must also say that the fight against terrorism financing is also in the purview of the CBN. But what we must establish at this point in time is that the fight against terrorism financing is not just CBN, DSS alone that is handling it. We have the NSA office, we have the NFIU, Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, we have the Office of the Attorney General, and also the Defense Intelligence Unit. All these groups are being at the forefront of fighting terrorism financing in Nigeria. But it was surprising that at this point in time, it is only the DSS that is not going to the court to go and, ask for an arrest on the CBN governor. And as the judge said, the DSS did not have enough proof against him, and that's why he did not honor that particular plea of the DSS. But we must also let Nigerians know that at this point in time, terrorism financing is a big crime. It is not just a crime against Nigerians, but a global crime that countries across the world are fighting hook, line, and sink to get people who are involved in it. And that's why I would say, yes, everybody is a suspect. And most especially Nigerian elite community, most of them will be a suspect. So nobody should say, okay, because they are taking a manipulate to court. No, the elite in Nigeria, majority of them are one way or the other, are people who could be part and parcel of the issue of terrorism financing in Nigeria. So the DSS is right to take him to court, but they must take him to court with enough evidence that will nail him. And eventually get what the judge was saying. He said, if it is something that is very genuine, something that is very, very important, the DSS would have gotten an approval from the presidency, because the person in question, the CBN governor, is occupying a very, very big position in Nigeria that nobody should do it. And that's our advice to the DSS.
Well, economic expert Olamileko Adefolari, thank you very much for your contribution. Well, as the 2023 general election gathers momentum, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, has reiterated the force's readiness to prosecute anyone involved in vote buying. The IGP made this known at a one-day stakeholder summit on addressing the influence of monetary inducement in the 2023 general election. Addressing participants at the retreat, Baba explained that this measure will serve as a deterrent to others who are so inclined. Our correspondent, Emeka Amaka, was at the event and files in this report.
It's exactly 66 days to the general election in February 2023, and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is leaving nothing to chance towards a credible, free and fair election, which it has promised Nigerians. One of such major steps is the continued consultative meetings with relevant stakeholders to put finishing touches on logistics for the election. INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu, in his address, berates the deployment of money in elections, stressing that election is not a business venture, but rather an application to serve the people.
The negative role of money in elections goes to the very heart of our democracy. It destroys the very basis of democratic elections, which is that citizens should freely choose those who exercise power on their behalf. It renders the emergence of the right candidates for positions extremely difficult, undermines fair electoral adjudication, and destroys the professional and independent conduct of INEC officials and other public agencies involved in elections.
The 2023 elections will be anything but free, fair, and credible due to the negative influence of money in the electoral process. This palpable appreciation is derived from the emerging trend in the actions and utterances of chieftains of some candidates who clearly are more powerful than the leadership of the political parties. This is evident right from the stage of the primary elections of the political parties, and that campaign rallies over reports of the plans to deploy huge illegitimate sums of money to influence the outcome of the elections.
Decrying what he described as money politics, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, ordered his men to go after politicians that will engage in vote buying and other forms of corruption during next year's elections.
Concerted efforts are being made by the Nigerian police as lead agency in the electoral security management to ensure that the use of money is not allowed to influence the 2023 general elections. We will also ensure that the police escort, intelligence officers and investigators are moved to the field to ensure that politicians move on election days, who move on election days with tons of money or physical cash for vote buying, are apprehended and dealt with within the confines of the law.
Political parties are therefore enjoined to strictly adhere to the election guidelines and make full disclosures of their sources of campaign finances. It is imperative to remind us all that we should be guided by the provisions of Section 2 of the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022.
The Commission at the end of the retreat announced that it will further its engagements, this time with road transport unions, which is crucial for movement of personnel and materials, and to aid early commencement of polls on the election day. Abisola Adebayo, TV360, Abuja.
While still on electoral matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has signed a revised Memorandum of Understanding with the National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW, the National Association of Road Transport Owners, NATO, and the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria. The MOU is to facilitate the successful deployment of personnel and materials for the 2023 general election. Speaking on Tuesday, Mahmoud Yakubu, INEC chairman, said INEC incorporated the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria in the MOU to solve issues associated with the deployment and retrieval of personnel and materials in riverine areas. The INEC boss further added that the Commission expects the leadership of the unions to effectively supervise their members in the various chapters and branches for the full implementation of the MOU.
In view of the challenges we encountered in the riverine areas of the country, it has become necessary to include the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, comprising sailors, dock workers, and those in related trades in our logistic planning and delivery. INEC is now in partnership with 3 unions, the National Union of Road Transport Workers, and the National Association of Road Transport Owners for Land Transportation, and the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria for the riverine areas. The Memorandum of Understanding we are about to sign today is a general framework. The contractual agreement between the Commission and the actual service providers will be worked out at state and local government levels between officials of the unions and our resident electoral commissioners and electoral officers. The agreement, which is legally binding, will be based on the actual breakdown of the number of vehicles and boats per state. It is therefore significant that our reps are present here today to witness the formal signing of the framework that will enable detailed work at state and local government level.
Well, it's been 7 days since the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, commenced the distribution of the permanent voters' cards at its local government offices nationwide. INEC had announced that Nigerians can now obtain their cards between December 12 and 22nd January 2023, with the Commission resolving to transfer PVC collection to the 8,809 registration areas and wards from January 6 to 15th, 2023. Well, TV360's correspondent, Simis Ladigun, visited designated collection points in Lagos and found out from residents their experiences and challenges so far.
This is the Ikeja local government area in Lagos, one of many designated areas set aside for the collection of permanent voters' cards. One by one, these eligible voters waiting patiently are called in by INEC officials for necessary documentation and card collection. The ones who encounter problems, especially with transfers, are also guided on the processes and how to go about getting their cards.
That's where you will get the cards, sir. So where in Lagos will I go to the local government office?
Those who have been sorted out and collected their cards cannot hide their relief. Commending INEC for making the process hassle-free for them, they say they are ready to exercise their franchise.
I came here today to collect my PVC, which I have already corrected it now. So I'm very, very excited because before I heard that some people are rumoring that when they go to the INEC office that they are not collecting their PVC in the sense of tribalism matter. If they see your name that you are a Christian or something like that, that they won't give you. But unfortunately, it's not like that.
I really want to vote who I want to vote in this coming election because we have suffered a lot. We want a change, and this change should start now. If I collect my own, I start as a mother. I think my children will continue, they will take care of it. And even if they are in power, they will know that mother even did her best.
Some other registered voters are not so lucky. Due to irregularities connected with registration and delay, they have been given another date to collect their PVCs. Regardless, they are determined to get their cards and cast their vote. They also suggest ways INEC can ease the process of PVC collection.
To tell ourselves the truth, the way we do things in Nigeria is totally wrong. It's not right at all. If someone should register since January and not 2 months, not 5 months later, I cannot collect the original, it's not it.
The INEC electoral officer in charge, Gabriel Taire, says the turnout of people to collect their PVCs so far is average. He added that the commission seeks to ensure that no eligible Nigerian is left out of the electoral process on account of displacement, wrong details, or other circumstances that may limit participation.
If you register in January and your card is not here, it's not telling you the truth. But what we do, we go to check your status on our portal. You discover that they have multiple registration. So once it is multiple, we just tell them, look, it's multiple registration. And sometimes they want to make trouble, say, we'll prosecute you, they'll just go quietly. Maybe it's one of those people you saw. But there are some, genuinely, their PVC is not there. We will check. And it's on our portals, there's no problem. We'll give them incident form to fill. What we mean by that is that you bring out your details and we send it online. And we tell them they should keep checking. We'll give them our office number. And they keep calling that. We'll get it.
With less than 60 days to the commencement of the general elections in 2023, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has assured that all permanent voters' cards, PVCs, will be ready for collection by January 6, 2023, and has assured registered voters to go collect their cards at all registration centers and local government areas across the country. Simisola Adigun, TV360, Lagos.
Well, we'll take a break here, but still to come, World Bank raises concern over economic effects of Naira redesign. The details of the story and more right after this break.
The Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has fixed Monday 12 December 2022 to Sunday 22 January 2023 as the dates for the collection of PVCs nationwide from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily, including Saturdays and Sundays. All registrants who are yet to collect their PVCs or requested for transfer of registration, as well as those who applied for replacement of lost or damaged PVCs, can now visit INEC local government offices where they intend to vote to collect their PVCs. Collection of PVCs will be further extended to ward level for those who are unable to collect theirs at local government offices from Friday 6th to Sunday 15 January 2023. Thereafter, the exercise will be reverted to the local government offices of the INEC until Sunday 22nd January 2023. Remember, only those with PVC can vote on election day. Collect your PVC now to vote. It is your duty. This message is brought to you by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, making your votes count, consolidating our democracy.
Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. Justice John Tisoho of the Federal High Court in Abuja has declined an application by the Department of State Services, DSS, to arrest and detain Godwin Emefiele, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. Justice Tisoho, while declining the motion ex parte, said the secret police did not provide any concrete evidence to substantiate its claims that Emefiele was involved in terrorism financing and economic crimes. In case you missed any of our news bulletin, for more updates, log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. Now to COVID-19 stories and updates. The United Kingdom is suing a company that supplied it with personal protective equipment, PPE, for £122 million, plus costs. PPE ModPro won contracts through the so-called VIP lane in 2020 after being recommended by Tory peer Baroness Michelle Moan. The government is attempting to get its money back on one of the deals in the High Court, claiming the medical gown supply did not comply with the specification in the contracts. The company, however, accused the government of a cynical attempt to recover money from suppliers who had acted in good faith and to contract specifications. And now we'll take a short break and return with more stories in business. To stay with us. Welcome back. Abisola Adebayo is on standby to bring us up to speed on the latest in the world of business. Over to you, Abisola.
Thank you very much, Shade. Welcome to Business News. The World Bank has warned that the newly redesigned Naira, which went into circulation last week, may have a negative effect on economic activities, especially for poor Nigerians due to its timing and short transition period. The Washington-based bank revealed this in a new report amid mixed reactions that have been trailing the newly redesigned notes. The Central Bank of Nigeria last month unveiled new 1,500 and 200 Naira notes as part of measures to mop up excess cash in circulation, ransom payment for kidnapping, terrorism financing, counterfeiting, among others. The World Bank in its report, however, said the new policy would negatively affect small businesses, especially those who engage in day-to-day cash transactions. We'll go on a short break now and return with a review of the stock market. In line with most market watchers' expectation of quiet sessions this week, Nigeria's equities market on Tuesday closed flat. At the close of trading, the all-share index recorded a 0.00% to close at 49,416 basis points, and the market capitalization recorded almost the same price as yesterday, closing at 26 trillion naira. Moving to the list of performing stocks on the NGX today, financial services stocks topped the gainers list. UPD Crate and Royal led 18 other gainers. They recorded a combined 30 kobo increase. On the flip side, that's our top losers for today. Naimet Pharmaceuticals and SCOA Nigeria PLC topped the laggard table with a combined 32 kobo decline. Our market summary, however, sees 100 million units of shares valued at 1.2 billion naira exchanging hands in 3,186 deals. Well, although the market closed flat today, there's still bullish sentiment on the floor of the NGX. So hopefully we have more greens before Christmas next week, depending on the sentiment of investors. Moving on to the global scene, that's the FTSE, the Dow Jones and the Nikkei. UK's export-oriented FTSE fell on Tuesday, even though it's in the positive territory, as investors turned risk-averse after the Bank of Japan unexpectedly tweaked its monetary policy, while all services provider dropped to an all-time low. US stocks also rose, rebounding in light trading from a multi-session sell-off as equity investors hunted for bargains, but the greenback lost altitude and treasury yields jumped in the wake of an unexpected policy pivot from the Bank of Japan. Japan stocks Nikkei, however, unfortunately could not manage to keep its head above water. At the close of trading, it recorded a 2.46% decline. That's all on Stock Market Report. Back to Fola Shadi for the rest of the news.
Well, many thanks, Abisola. And on the foreign scene, Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, has pledged to make 2023 a year for peace and a year for action. Guterres, who made the pledge on Monday at the end of year press conference at the UN headquarters, highlighted the need for practical solutions to a raft of pressing problems facing all regions of the world. The UN chief also announced that it will convene a Climate Ambition Summit in September 2023 alongside a General Assembly Opening Week Summit designed to accelerate action. He also called on every leader in government, business, cities and regions, civil society and finance to step up, as this is not a time to sit on the sidelines.
Our world faced many trials and tests in 2022, some familiar, others we might not have imagined just 1 year ago. There may be plenty of reasons for despair. Geopolitical divides have made global problem solving even more difficult, sometimes impossible. The cost of living crisis is hitting hard, and inequalities are growing, affecting the world's women and girls the most. Most of the world's poorest countries find themselves on what one could call debt row, staring down the abyss of insolvency and default. This year alone, their debt service payments skyrocketed 35%, the largest increase in decades. The poor are getting poorer. These and so many other challenges make some want to throw up their hands and give up on international problem solving and on diplomacy. But I want to end this year with one overriding conviction. This is not a time to sit on the sidelines. It's a time for resolve, determination, and yes, even hope. Because despite the limitations and long odds, we are working to push back against despair, to fight back against disillusion, and to find real solutions. Not perfect solutions, not even always pretty solutions, but practical solutions that are making a meaningful difference to people's lives.
And in sports, Nigeria's World 100-meter hurdles champion and record holder Tobi Amusan has been ranked the 5th best female athlete in 2022, according to World Athletics. The World Athletics ranked each athlete according to the points they amassed from their performances during the season using the scoring tables of athletics. The 25-year-old hurdler had a fantastic year and became the first Nigerian world champion in an athletics event when she won the 2022 World Championships 100-meter hurdles gold medal, setting the current world record of 12.12 seconds in the semi-final, followed up by a 12.06 seconds in the final. She also won gold again at the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham before retaining a Diamond League trophy in Zurich in a new meet record of 12.29 seconds. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Bye for now.